ESPN and the Professional Bowlers Association present the championship round finals of the $125,000 Earl Anthony Open, live from Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl, located in Dublin, California. Looking for his first victory in the championship round, 29-year-old Dave Traber will start from the number 5 position today. Richmond, Indiana's Scott Devers will be shooting for his 5th career PBA title and his first victory of the '92 campaign. Fourth-year pro Mark Turney of Corpus Christi, Texas, is qualified in the middle of the stack, while Mike Shady, who came within 1 game of winning here a year ago, will start from the runner-up position. And after averaging 231.6 and winning 18 of 24 matches, Parker Bohn III will need to win just 1 game, the title match, in order to claim $18,000 and his 6th professional title. Welcome, everyone, to Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl, located in Dublin, California. Hi, everybody. I'm Teddy Schreiner, and welcome to the home of the PBA's most prolific champion, Earl Anthony, who captured 41 titles in his career, and also welcome to the first of 11 PBA telecasts on ESPN this summer. And as always, standing by, PBA Hall of Famer Mike Durbin. And Mike, let's talk about the top seed position. Thus far this season, the top seeds on the PBA Tour are just 3 and 13, yet Parker Bohn is 5-1 from that position. What are his chances?
Well, I think it all depends on attitude, Danny. Parker's attitude going into the championship game is if he has to bowl 1 game for the title, he wants it to be from the number 1 position, and that's all you can do if you're going to bowl 1 game. You got to be the leader. As far as the 3 and 13 record, you know, it goes in cycles like that, but keep in mind that the guy that is already on there is tuned in for 1 game. He always has the advantage. A year ago, Mike Shady almost captured his first PBA title here at Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl. He is back for a return engagement. And how tough is it to make the show 2 years in a row in a particular bowling center? Well, it's always tough to make the championship round, but when you walk into a bowling center and you have confidence in it, you know your ball's going to roll right, you got the good carry in that place, that helps you because this is a mental game. Last year, he won 3 games, lost the big game. This year, he only has to win 2 games to win his first title. Scott Devers is also back for the 2nd consecutive year in the championship round. And if he had his druthers, I wonder if he would rather be in Hawaii today. He's supposed to be on his honeymoon. Well, he got married just 1 week ago today, made reservations, flight reservations to go to Hawaii today because he did not anticipate being in the championship round. But he's here today, and the honeymoon is going to have to wait. Let's hope it doesn't put a damper on anything. Okay, up for grabs here this afternoon, a first-place check worth $18,000. And starting in our number 1 match, Dave Traber and Scott Devers when we return to Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl, located in Dublin, California.
I'll have a McLean Deluxe and a frozen yogurt.
And I'll have Big Mac and small fries.
You know, you'll get the same thing every time. Come on, live a little. They have chef salad, filet of fish, chicken fajitas. Life's too short. Get a mint and get in the game, for Pete's sake.
Okay, I'll have a Big Mac and a large fry.
You're a wild man.
What you want is what you get. Different tastes for different tastes. That's McDonald's today.
To keep myself in great condition, I have to do lots of things. I used to think keeping my hair in great condition took lots of things, too. Then I found Pert Plus.
Pert Plus combines shampoo with a breakthrough microbead conditioner that's released as your shampoo to condition completely for soft, manageable hair in just 1 step.
With Pert Plus, my hair feels like it's in better condition than I am. I got the ticket.
Tickets?
Oh, let's go.
Pert Plus, 1 step to soft, manageable hair.
The only problem with ice chests is the ice. Yes, it's the ice. Not to mention the icy mess. That's why we're introducing Coolmate, the electric igloo. Just plug it in. It keeps food and drinks cool and dry, and it never needs ice. Coolmate, the electric igloo.
Taken at face value, your diet routine seems to have gotten brown. Why not come out of the shadow and into the light of Diet 7-Up, the Un-Cola, the Un that's always smooth, never harsh or irritating, without a hint of aftertaste. New Diet 7-Up with NutraSweet, the 1-calorie Un-Cola. Put some Un in your diet.
The championship round finals of the $125,000 Earl Anthony PBA Open are being brought to you by McDonald's. What you want is what you get at McDonald's today. And by Pert Plus, shampoo plus conditioner in one bottle. One step to great-looking hair. All right, everybody, welcome to Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl, the Earl Anthony PBA Open. And Scott Deaver starts the championship round with a shot on lane 33. Championship pair 33 and 34. High scores all week.
High scores all week. He better shoot high scores. You know, he's supposed to be in Hawaii, so.
Hold off those honeymoons. You better come up with a victory. That's what Jacqueline is thinking at this point in time. Isn't that something? Yeah, they were supposed to be leaving today.
I don't know. Is that a positive thing or is that Murphy's Law? I mean,
hey, that's positive. This is business. Right?
Whatever you say.
Whatever I say. Right. The single guy talking to the guy that's been married. Right. That makes a lot of sense. And a blistering strike for Dave Traber, who opens up with an X of his own on lane 34.
And Dave, who moved from 8th place to the top 5 last night in his final game, holds the ball up. 4-step player, kind of steps, hasn't pushed it. Almost a 3-step delivery from this point in. Let's watch the timing now as he hits the next to last step. Foot's down, the ball's still going up, so it's late timing. Muscles it through. Throws the ball very straight. Very competitive. Intense individual. Ooh, what a nice break. That was a 9-pin that fell into the 4.
Let up on the speed a little bit, it looked that time, but he ends up with a strike on the left-hand lane.
Watch the 9-pin. The ball drives through the 1-3. The 9 is standing. It falls forward into the 4. That doesn't happen very often, Dennis.
He'll take that break. People with a double. Now Devers will try and match. And
well,
it's a matter of inches. Look at that.
Right. He has a 10-pin trying to
around.
get the 6 out, but it wouldn't do it. Wobbled it, but not knocked it over.
Well, for Scott Devers, can't double to get things started. And we do have a very unusual situation presenting itself here this afternoon. Players are utilizing a ball return on the pair to the right of where they are participating.
And to the left. Whichever lane that they're on. The ball return on the championship pair 33 and 34. The motor overheated just before airtime and stopped working. So we're scrambling through here now. Let's see where his ball comes back. Whether over on 35 and 6. No, it's coming back over on 31 and 2 as he walks over there to pick it up.
A little more exercise here this afternoon, but will that throw off any of the professionals?
Shouldn't.
Devers averaged 214 on this particular pair of lanes throughout the week. Dave Traber averaged 216.6.
Scott throwing the ball very straight, leaves a lot of weak 7s. I'm familiar with that from the other side.
Well, first corner pin for Scott Devers here in the championship round. I'm remembering back when Steffi shot 300. Jim Steffenich shot 300. What, at Mel's South Shore, didn't they have to use an alternate lane there?
Yes, they did. They were using like lane 32 and 34.
Ooh. Something you don't see very often out of a very accurate player in Scott Devers.
Well, you know, you just said, will that affect him? And the fact that he was waiting for his ball on 33 and 4 and had to go over and get it on 31 and 2, came back. I think he did have a lapse in concentration that caused him to miss that spare. As you see it hooked by it on the right. Oh, what a nice break. He was up 22 to begin with that. Now he's up 32.
Traber trips out the 2-pin and starts with the first 3, so he's had a couple of fortunate breaks to begin match number 1, the first of 11 PBA telecasts on ESPN this summer. And of course, for the first time in a long time, ESPN will also be airing the PBA Fall Tour. So we're looking forward to that. Big lead for Traber early. And a quality shot there as his wife Melissa looks on, and so he has stormed to a huge lead.
And Scott, what do you say? I guess he's always got in the back of his mind, well, even if I lose, I just start my honeymoon a little sooner.
He's in a win-win situation, I think. Good quality shot there, a good comeback shot, and There's a good look at Jacqueline. But at this point in time, he needs a double just to kind of right himself, wouldn't you say?
Am I getting old then, or does she look exceptionally young?
You're getting old.
Oh, okay.
Either that or your eyes are getting a bit suspect. Probably a little bit of both. Huh?
Scott with that unusual swing that he has. Kind of loops it around, but comes through straight. Needs a strike.
Gets a good hit there. Comes back with a double. And cuts the lead to what, 32?
32, right.
Sounds a whole lot better than 42 or 52 at this stage.
Getting a lot of room. Oh! Tell you what. He could be thinking about something with a couple more strikes.
Well, it's pretty obvious he's got a little area to the right. The ball will hook back. The question is, if you set a little short, what happens? It looks like it might hook early.
Sometimes a guy throwing the ball as straight as David Traber does, though, will have maybe just a pinch left where a guy that hooks it more like Pete Weber, who's keeping score for us, wouldn't have that.
Lane right now doing a lot of the work for Dave Traber. Good speed on that shot, and he starts with the first half dozen.
52-pin lead just right out of the gate, just like that. Look at this dead flush in the 1-3 pocket. The ball continuing to roll all the way through the pins.
And Dave Traber with...
Some beer companies pour their money into expensive racing events. Does that make your beer taste better? Other beer companies pour their money into commercials with glamour and glitz. But you foot the bill. But at Genesee, we pour our money into the purest water and the finest grains. Jenny Light, the light beer that's real beer.
The 1992 Mercury Sable. Of its 200 refinements, these could be most important of all. Available dual airbags and anti-lock brakes. So think smart. Think safe. Think Sable. Buy smart at your Lincoln Mercury dealer now.
Betsy King's on a hot streak, but will Lady Luck stay on her side? The stars of the LPGA try to break her stride at the Oldsmobile Classic, beginning Friday afternoon live on ESPN.
The good news is Scott Deaver's working on a double. The bad news is he's down by 52.
Well, when you're thinking of that, you know you have to just keep striking. And he didn't. Right through the heart of the pins, just a little soft, and that happens frequently coming out of a commercial break. Basically now the only added interest to this first match is, will David Traber keep striking?
Had to be a very disappointing match earlier this year when he led the U.S. Open and was defeated in the championship round.
Scott was, yeah. Well, what was exceptionally disappointing for him in that match, Dan, was that he made a super clutch finish by striking out in the 9th and 10th frames to shoot over 220 to force his opponent, Robert Lawrence, to double, and Robert did.
And, of course, we have mentioned that Scott was married this past week, and he should have been on his honeymoon. I asked him, would he rather be here or in Hawaii?
Well, it would be a nice start to the honeymoon if I did win today. I look at it this way, business before pleasure.
I don't know, is that the way you're supposed to start that thing?
Don't ask me that question.
Well, so far we know who's wearing the pants in the family anyway. No, Jackie was really funny. She said, hey, he has to be here working, and when he's done working, then we'll go on the honeymoon. Got to knock down those pins. Dave Traber right now in a waltz.
Oh, wow. You've been carrying that hit the last couple of times on that lane, but didn't get that 7-pin out this time.
So an excellent start, match in hand, and that's got to loosen the arm swing a little bit. No, you're ahead by that many pins.
When you're ahead by over 50 pins with 3.5 frames to go or so.
guess at this point in time, you're not shopping for anything other than the line you're playing, are you, Mike?
You're just trying to maintain your concentration so that you don't get lax and get lazy, and that carries on into the next match. You have to pace yourself. He's obviously got a good line to the pocket on both lanes. He's already thinking about the next match because this one is well in hand. He just wants to maintain the form that he has and kind of get the emotions on an even keel.
Scott Devers could still shoot 236, but that could be far shy of what he needs. Got a good shot. Solid 10-pin this time.
Doing what he has to do. Keep the ball right in the pocket all the way through. You don't mind those taps when you're ahead by 50 so much. It's when you're trailing by 10 or something.
You just accept him and go ahead and spare up and go to the next frame.
Right.
Boy, he bowled absolutely brilliantly last night. Averaged 238 for the final 8 games just to qualify for the telecast.
Good spare shooter.
.53 pins down at this point. Scott Devers, one of the real bright young players out here on the national tour. Very professional approach to the game out here.
Maintains what little hope that he has. Knocks that lead down to 43. One more can cut it to 33.
How many times have you watched a professional miss a 1-pin spare early on in a match, regardless of what your opponent's doing, and go on to win? Doesn't happen very often.
No. It can happen in a low-scoring match, Stan, but not when your opponent's starting with 6 in a row at you.
And normally when the scores are fairly low, the guys who really shoot spares well are the ones that make the telecast anyway.
Well, Scott shoots spares well. He just had a lapse in concentration there.
And a lapse in carry as...
well, that was the same hit where he missed the 7-pin back there in the third frame. The exact same hit.
4-pin kind of got lazy and didn't get the job done. So it looks like it could be an early exit and heading to the island in the sun, Hawaii.
Maybe those reservations were for later on this evening.
Yeah. It'll be a fun trip regardless, huh?
Right.
And just to show you that he can make it, there's the new Mrs. Devers. Meanwhile, Dave Traber is trying to win his first ever match in the championship round. Still could shoot 268. And he just might do that. And while we're on the subject of outstanding championships, don't forget on ESPN, coming up tomorrow, the men's tennis championships, the NCAA Division I championships. All you have to do is look at the fact that Patrick McEnroe and Jimmy Connors, just to name a couple of players, have already captured that title earlier on in their career. Gives you an idea of what kind of competition you could expect.
Well, you imagine when you're going for any championship at a college level like that, you're running into severe competition, guys that are really good at their endeavor.
4-pin kicks out. Traber's got a little bit of everything going right now.
Well, that happens when you're ahead sometimes. It loosens up that swing. He seems to have the right approach, though. I mean, he's very businesslike right now. He's just going about his business here to get this first match out of the way. He's going to go on to face Mark Turney, a bright young up-and-coming star on our PBA Tour, making his second telecast.
And Mike Shady has qualified number 2, and Parker Bohn III is our top seed this week.
Wow, a flush 410. I'll tell you what.
How do you leave that in the pocket?
You have to have back ends that are really hooking. I think that for something like that to happen, just boom like that. Watch this. It looks just a little bit tight in the pocket. The 3-pin slides by the 10 on the right, and the 2-pin goes right around the 4.
Excellent start for Dave Traber, who shoots 255, and for Scott Devers, it'll be a 5th-place finish here at Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl. And of course, we'll have to wait to see what happens with Parker Bohn III, but the left-hander has never won a tournament in Earl's house.
Looks like that right lane is the difficult lane for the left-hander. We'll see how Parker fares on it a couple games down the road here.
Dejected and disappointed Scott Devers, who was hoping for a very big day. A little extra special wedding present, perhaps, that $18,000 first-place check. when it's not to be. So it's Dave Traber who advances out of game number 1. And when we come back to Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl, Mike Durbin with his first version of Average Builders, and he'll be joined by the great one, Earl Anthony.
Morning breath.
As soon as I have my coffee, it's all gone.
Whether you admit it or not, it's a problem.
Okay, I have morning breath, but it doesn't bother anyone.
Don't be so sure.
Mine's not so bad.
Morning breath's not as bad as you think. It's worse. So get Scope. Its 2 powerful ingredients kill 90% of the bacteria that cause morning breath.
Was my morning breath really that bad?
There's no denying morning breath, so save your breath with Scope.
Old MacDonald had a mule. He lived in Ohio, and on his mule he hauled supplies to where he had to go. Well, he hauled things here and he hauled things there. Here he hauled, there he hauled, everywhere he hauled. Old MacDonald had a mule. It didn't cost much dough.
The hard-working Mule 500 from Kawasaki carries everything but a big price tag. Test drive one now at your participating Kawasaki dealer.
Old MacDonald had a mule, and boy did that thing go.
Average Builders is brought to you by Pizza Hut, home of the new Meat Lovers Pizza with 25% more meat toppings.
For our opening tip of the year, I thought I'd like to take a topic that we don't talk about too much in the sport of bowling, and that is the position of our back going to the foul line. I've always been an advocate in both theory and practice of a rather straight back, or what they call a high back position going to the foul line, similar to what Parker Bohn, Mike Shady, and Scott Devers have on today's telecast. And I have 3 basic reasons for that. First, I believe it's easier on me physically, and it's natural. If I were going to walk in this direction, I would walk with my back in this position. I wouldn't bend forward and walk like this, and I believe bowling is similar to walking. Second, I think it helps me to get into a nice free arm swing easier. The ball, with my back in a high position, the ball wants to swing from my shoulder in a pendulum motion like this. And third, when I'm ready to let go of the bowling ball, I'm into my slide and my next to last step, and the ball is in this position, I'm in a leverage position where the thumb wants to come out of the ball and the fingers can impart force to the bowling ball. Well, that's my concept and my idea, but it's not the only one. Other players have different ideas. Our host here is the legendary ABC and PBA Hall of Famer, Earl Anthony. Earl, welcome to ESPN.
Thank you, Michael.
Earl, you had a different concept of where your shoulders and back should be when you bowled. And we have a film clip here of you bowling in your last PBA tournament in Flint, Michigan. Why don't you tell us about it?
The over-the-hill gang, right. Well, this is a good shot of me bowling from the side, and my concept was that I wanted to have control of the ball at all times. So I like to use my upper body strength and my leg strength to project the ball through the first 15 feet of the lane. I felt if I was under control of the ball, I could get it to do what I wanted. And here's a good shot of me at the foul line. As you see right at that point, how they extended my legs, extended my upper body, and I'm using my strength, my upper body, and my legs to push the ball through that first 15 feet. I could control the speed and the rotation, and that was what my game was built on.
Well, there you have it. 2 different ideas from 2 over-the-hill bowlers. We'll see you again June 25th from Las Vegas, Nevada.
Final score, match number 1, 255-188, as Traber starts with the first 6, and he'll be matched up in game number 2 against Mark Turney when we return to Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl in Dublin, California.
What would you say if there was a new, even meatier Pizza Hut Meat Lovers Pizza?
Feed me.
What if we gave you 25% more meat toppings than before?
Feed me.
Tons of sausage, pepperoni, everything you love, plus 3 meltingly delicious cheeses.
Feed me.
So try a medium Meat Lovers Pizza for $8.99 and any other medium's just $4 more.
Feed me now.
The new meatier Meat Lovers Pizza from Pizza Hut. What do you say?
Feed me good.
This is a remarkable chemical called Bomblin. Bomblin's protective properties are critical to the space shuttle. And now that same protection is available for your car's finish. Introducing Autobomb with Bomblin from Blue Coral. Gas, acid rain, and road salt destroy traditional products. But Autobomb literally repels them. And all with the brightest shine you've ever seen, especially for today's clear coat finishes. Bomblin protects the world's most expensive vehicles. Imagine what Autobomb can do for yours.
First, the ladies are ready to roll at the Brunswick Open. Then Doug DeWitt goes toe-to-toe with Dan Sherry in a super middleweight clash on Top Rank Boxing.
Knockdown Thursday, ESPN. Hey!
The lure of sports and the men turned heroes who excel in them. The dangers of their lifestyle and their behavior. Special privilege, groupies, even sexual assault. All Wednesday on Outside the Lines, Men and Women, Sex and Sports.
Terrific crowd on hand here at Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl, and the great one himself joins us up here in the booth for a few frames. Earl, nice to have you with us.
Nice to be with you, Danny.
And I have to ask you a quick question. How in the world could you own this bowling center and a left-hander has never won a tournament here?
Maybe this year, though. Parker Bohn's bowling great.
Okay, he's the top seed.
Yeah, I like his chances. He's really throwing the ball well.
He led by almost 300 pins, and he's ready for a victory, too. It's been a couple of years since he's won. Meanwhile, Dave Traber, who opened with 255, throws a pretty good shot and leaves a 4-pin.
They're tripping when you're 50 pins ahead. When you start the next match even, sometimes those 4 pins don't fall so easy.
Earl, do you remember any particular characteristics of this pair of lanes or this bowling center? How did you ever bowl when you were here?
Well, I'll tell you what. I used to come back off the, off the tour and bowl in the scratch league we had there, which is a very strong league, and I was about 10th in average.
Wow.
I couldn't beat the guys here in the home house, but this particular end of the bowling center is normally the high-scoring end. But of course, this is the PBA lane condition, so they're bowling on a lot different oil pattern than we bowled on in our leagues.
Well, speaking of high scoring, this man has averaged 258 on this pair, so he evidently likes it.
We haven't shot many spares in, right?
If he throws it like that, he'll continue to shoot a few spares.
I like his game. It's real solid. His balance is good at the foul line. He gets the ball well out in front of him. Those long arms help a lot.
You mentioned you like his game. I said the same thing last night. I haven't seen too much of Mark Turney over the last couple of years, but Mike Durbin said he's the kind of guy that is not getting a lot of respect in terms of exposure, but he's a wonderful player.
And he's an up-and-coming player. He made the telecast earlier this year in Cleveland, won 2 games. He beat Dave Ferraro and Del Ballard, 2 pretty good bowlers, before he finally lost to Steve Cook, who went on to win the tournament.
Another good shot. I'll tell you one thing I like right now is the reaction of the bowling ball.
The lane condition is excellent. It's conducive to high scores as it's been all week. And here's another look at his game from the side. And as you can see, watch the good extension, the good balance of the foul line, how well he gets the ball out in front, and he chases it with his hand. That's what creates that real strong rotation and the good back end. He's got very good fundamentals. Don't you agree, Mike?
Well, what I liked was how far the ball went down the lane before it started making a turn. When it made a turn to the pocket, it was just like sucked into the 1-3 hole.
A lot of energy on the ball.
I have a physical question for you guys. If we get a strike here and we don't, with the longer arms, does that give you a tendency to get the ball down the lane easier, further?
I think you create a longer flat spot at the bottom of the swing, and I think that's very important for direction. What it gives you is more direction and more time to keep your fingers in the ball after your thumb is released. So you get direction and more hit in the back end, and that's a big advantage.
So for Traber, first look at a 10-pin here in the championship round. Started with the first 6 strikes as he disposed of Scott Devers in game number 1, 255 to 188. So tell us what you've been up to, Earl. I know that you've been playing some golf.
Been playing a lot of golf, Denny. We have a new club up in Oregon where I live, 36 holes, Pumpkin Ridge, and it's an excellent facility. I feel the best in the Northwest, if not the best in the West Coast. And I'm really looking forward for the other 18 to open up, and you guys come up and play some golf with me. You got to give me about 4 aside, I think, and Mike and I will play even.
Yeah, just spoken for by a 4 handicapper, right? Yeah.
Notice how he nudged you right into that deal, Mike. Didn't want to leave you out. Well, you know, the other thing that's interesting, too, now you look at these 2 players, and I'll throw this out to both of you guys. One guy's probably crossing 20 boards and striking. And then you look at Traber, who was probably cutting that in half, 10 boards, and he's doing nothing but hit the pocket.
And, Mike, I think that's the pattern of dressing on the lanes. It's what you might call a Christmas tree effect, and what that does is put a lot of oil in the first 15 feet, and then it's tapered down toward the head pin. And when that happens, you can play anywhere on the lane based on your game. What you do is pick what feels best for you for your game.
Ooh, the rollout wild shot, left the 4-9. Did you see that ball just roll out of the pocket? Still left the 4-9. What I think it speaks of, Denny, also is it's a tribute to the PBA lane maintenance crew that guys that throw the ball so extremely different can both score and be competitive and have a chance to win the tournament.
Yeah, if you take a look at the top 5, Parker Bohn, he's got to be considered like a power stroke type player. He crosses a lot of boards, and Scotty Devers doesn't much at all on the left side. Okay.
So you have a big variety there, even on the left side. So.
Mike, you mentioned something interesting as Turney cannot convert to 4-9. You said that the PBA has changed its philosophy in terms of what it does on television day with a pair of lanes, especially the last 15 feet.
Well, what the PBA is trying to do is to give the players a scoring environment on the television show, and there was a little trouble earlier this year, so they cleaned the last 15 feet of the lanes about 15 minutes before airtime. And what happens is that all the carry down that the ball uses during that time has happened at that point in time, and the guys have a pretty even reaction for the telecast, and you give these guys that kind of reaction, they're going to score.
Nice comeback shot for Turney, who obviously has to be a little bit upset with the fact that he left the 4-9 on a shot that he probably felt was pretty good.
Well, it was pretty good. He just got a terrible bad break.
Traber, meanwhile, goes back to work on a strike, leading by 5, so a double here puts him up by 15.
And the old unwritten rule on the PBA Tour, when your opponent opens, the other guy comes back and doubles. Just like that.
Earl's nodding. You did that to a few players in your time, didn't you?
And I've had it done to me many times also, Danny.
He never opened. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you've seen the other side of that, haven't you?
I have. I've seen it a lot of times. And Mike said it well. It's almost like an unwritten rule. If you make a mistake, they jump on you. You can expect it. You do expect it. You just feel you just lost not only the Open, but maybe another 20 pins.
Of course, for those of you who don't realize this, too, this is not the only bowling center that you own, right, Earl?
Danville, just about 10 miles up the road, 24-laner. And when we have a tournament like this going here, we just put our bowlers up at Danville, and they're happy, and we're happy.
Boy, that works out nice. So Traber comes back. Very solid professional game at this point in time. Now let's see if Turney can wrestle some of that momentum back.
He's got to. Right now, you know, he was cruising along, even though it was only the 3rd frame, but now he's almost in a must-strike situation because Traber is really locked in.
It'll be interesting to see if he makes any kind of an adjustment or if he feels he made a bad shot there.
Question for both of you guys. What's the difference between a flush hit like that and a 4-9 or a 6-8 in your case, Earl?
Oh, to me, the ball is rolling equally well on both shots. One, you're just a hair short at the point of release, and it makes the ball finish high in the pocket. The ball's cutting through when you do that kind of a split.
It's just, you're talking maybe a ½ inch at 60 feet, Denny. It's just so minute. You know, they're both good shots, and one's just a bad break.
Turney could cut the lead back to 5. If he strikes here.
Stroke that pretty.
Set up again.
Shot. All right, Earl, thanks for stopping by and spending a little time with us. And what we want to do is take one look back to the final shots of your illustrious career. And just like Ted Williams, who hit a home run in his last trip, you had to go out with a strike.
Shine a light on you, shine a light on me. Keep your floodlight shining for everyone to see. A cuts clean through your thirst, never leaves you flat. Outshining all the others that from Bud Light shine.
If you're into looking good, get into Bud Light. Clean, fresh taste won't fill you up, never let you down.
Yeah, you can taste it, you can feel it, you know you got it right. Everything else is just a lie. Keep your Bud Light shining. Everything else is just a lie.
If she had a fever, you wouldn't wait a week to see the doctor. If she were hungry, you wouldn't wait a few days to feed her. So why wait even a day to fix the brakes on a car you drive her around in? At Midas, we don't just fix your brakes right. We can fix them right the very same day you bring in your car. Think about it. Midas, because your brakes can't wait.
WIBC Vice President Elaine Hagan was on hand a little earlier today here at Earl's Dublin Bowl to present him with a marvelous plaque because Earl is the BVL honorary co-chairman, and Earl His role with BVL has been one of great success. He's helped that program out considerably as he travels to VA hospitals throughout the country and gave away some bowling balls this past year and helped the VA vets with their bowling games, spent some time with them, and it's people like Earl that really you can count on in situations like that.
Well, I think Earl's learned something, that some people learn early in their lives and other people learn later in their lives is giving back, whether it's to the community, to your church, to your family, to your sport, to your job. That there is a principle there that we need to learn. You got to give back.
Well, this one's turned into a strike fest, as we had kind of suspected. The players have averaged almost 230 on this pair of lanes.
And David doesn't want to give back. He just wants to...
Yeah, at this point in time, he's trying to be selfish, and up stands that solid 10-pin, so the string stops.
And what I noticed about Traber is the last few frames, you haven't seen that ball leak to the right at all. He's been going more direct and more direct. I would sense that that's his tendency under pressure. He throws it basically straight anyway. Then under pressure, the line would get tighter and tighter and tighter. And that's what happens. The speed gets a little greater, solid 10.
Okay. And for Turney, it might be the opposite. He's probably going to want to go further right with the ball.
Exactly right.
Because we all have our own tendencies, especially under pressure. You're always going to revert back to what you feel most comfortable with.
Exactly.
In your case, it was going pretty straight.
Absolutely.
Because you couldn't hook
the
it.
high, hard one.
Well, it worked pretty well. I mean, I'll tell you, I'm impressed with his game. He's really comfortable right now.
Oh, I'll tell you what, he has just executed 7 pretty shots right here. And that 4-9 is just, like I say, just a bad break. But, he could have them all. 4 pins the difference. Look at that shot. Inside the third row, out to maybe 7th or 8th board, and back flush. I could never, even if I could hook it that much, I could never bowl like that. 5-step, holds the ball. Now, we were talking about the head and shoulders going forward like Earl Anthony does. That's what he does. See, the head and shoulders are in front of the knee here. Shoulder high backswing. Now he brings it back up here, but see how he's extended out, and he kind of forces the ball with his strength in the upper body through the head area of the lane.
That's way right. Missed and got lucky that the 10-pin didn't stand along with the 2 and the 8.
And it's his first errant shot of the game. It has a difficult spare.
And he missed right.
And he missed right. He missed right, Denny, but he didn't release it like he wanted to release it. That was not a clean release.
Mark with 1 PBA regional title to his credit. Goal is to win, head to the Firestone Tournament of Champions, and get to make a trip to the PBA press room.
Nice conversion.
Hooked it quite a bit at that conversion, didn't he?
Well, a lot of guys play that off of their strike line, Dan, because you know what the ball's going to do there. And he does just that. Gives it a lot of room. Watch the ball quit right at the end, though. The old rollout shot even for the spare. 2 frames to go, 6 pins the difference.
A little more speed.
He is lined in. I'm telling you what, this guy is just wired.
Shot 255 in game number 1.
He's got a strike here, though, Dan, or Turney could strike out and shut him out.
He could shoot 258 this game. Mike Shady next in line, and Parker Bohn III, our top seed this week.
Big, big shot for David right here.
Blisters. It looked like that ball hung on his hand just a fraction, although maybe he's trying to loft it more on the left-hand lane. I'm not sure.
He seems to throw a lot of shots like that where it doesn't seem to quite get off perfectly clean. But what's interesting, that even that slightly errant shot winds up in the 1-3 pocket.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, his game is throwing it at the 1-3. He's not going to spend much time missing the pocket. So for Mark Turney, he's in a position now where if he wants to advance into the next game, he can get the job done.
Right. If he strikes in the 9th and all 3 in the 10th, he can finish with 242, and the best that Traber can get now is 238. So his fate is in his own hands.
Big strapping right-hander from Corpus Christi, Texas. In his second appearance in the championship round.
He didn't like it when he let it go. The cameraman, He's looking at that cameraman with daggers in his eyes. He thinks that he moved and distracted him as he let it go.
Caught him in about, what, step 4?
Yep.
Well, now what you have to do is put that behind you, make the spare, and hope that you can finish the 10th strong and hang on.
Straight at the 1-pin spare, and a glare again.
Traber picks up the strike ball and heads back over to the championship round pair. Now, if he strikes out, it's 231, but the bad news is Dave Traber can go right by him.
Still in the match, so you never know what's going to happen. He's got to regroup.
Needs some help, and oh, what a break! He gave up on the shot, and guess what? The messenger came late, but better late than never.
I have no idea what pin that was that hit it. We're going to take a look. Let's watch the head pin. Usually it's that one. It goes left. It comes back, it hits the 4. Watch that 4 pin. It's going to be the 4. It rolls around. The head pin hit the 4, and the 4 rolled over there and got the 10. In slow motion.
Fans reacting to that slow motion replay. Meanwhile, back to live action. Another one makes the 10th frame very interesting, and for Turney, it doesn't quite happen.
He got unnerved and couldn't get it back together. And we've seen, you know, that happens in all athletics. So much of sports endeavor is the battle is inside your head.
Very tough break for Mark Turney, who appeared to be on his way to maybe shutting out Dave Traber. And you can look at this from the other side of the coin. If you're Traber, you're looking for a break to maybe extend and get into the next match. Who knows? He may even win his first title today, and if he wins it, that'll be one of the breaks.
Yeah. All he wanted was for Turney to not strike somewhere. He gave that one more room, and it comes back. I mean to tell you, he's got 2 or 3 boards on this right lane. He sends it right, and it comes back. And if he goes right down the boards, it just holds pocket.
So what I liked about that shot was it was a very aggressive shot where he gave the ball a little more room. Slows up on the speed, but it doesn't make any difference.
Not at this point in time.
So Dave Traber wins his second match, and his next opponent now will be Mike Shady. And Traber, I think, would have to be feeling pretty comfortable now on this particular pair of lanes because he's thrown a lot of strikes.
He's going to throw some more, too, Dan.
Yeah, good point. Tough break for Mark Turney, but Traber moves on. And we'll be back with more of the championship round finals of the Earl Anthony PBA Open momentarily.
When you buy a high-quality Comfortmaker furnace or air conditioner, you get superb home comfort and something more. High energy efficiencies that could mean big savings on your utility bills. Day after day, month after month, year after year. Comfortmaker, all the comforts of home.
For heating and cooling sales and service, contact your local Comfortmaker dealer. Ressler Mateer Incorporated in Brownstown, 859-2025.
At Swedish Motors, they spend a lot of time telling people where to go. But no one seems to mind because Swedish Motors' reputation for one of the largest selections of Saabs and Volvos has current owners coming from near and far. What else would bring people to Marietta from New York, Maryland, Virginia, and from Harrisburg, York, and Lancaster? Only premier Saabs and Volvos and a reputation that's worth the drive. At Swedish Motors, our reputation is your guarantee. Swedish Motors in Marietta.
Wouldn't it be?
All right, final score of match number 2. Dave Traber, a winner after throwing a 4-bagger in frames 3 through 6. The final there, 227 to 221. So Turney finishes 4th, and Traber advances. And we've got a pair of Mikes down on the practice pair right now, Mike Durbin and also PBA Commissioner Mike Connor.
Thank you, Denny. And with me, as you said, is the new commissioner of the Professional Bowlers Association, Mike Connor. Mike, welcome to ESPN.
Thank you very much, Mike. It's great to be with ESPN on Pro Bowlers Tour.
Well, you started this job back January 1st, just about 5.5 months ago. As you came into the job, what kind of goals for the PBA did you have in mind?
The goals pretty well were established, I think, in the process, talking with the steering committee. We wanted to see continued growth of the PBA Tour, both in the national tour as well as the senior tour, not necessarily in more tournaments, but try to increase the prize money, more visibility for the commissioner, and try to get longer-term commitments from our sponsors.
Well, that more visibility. You've been in a lot of tournaments, haven't you?
I made 13 out of 16 on the winter tour, and I'm starting the spring and summer with another 1 for 1.
How does your wife feel about that?
Well, she knows it was part of the job, and I think it's important that the commissioner get out and meet with the proprietors and meet the players, see me here, and be able to talk with them about some of their concerns, and I feel it's worked very well.
Okay. Been on the job 5.5 months. Is it too early for a report card for some of those goals?
I think part of the report card, we had an outstanding winter tour. We had good crowds at all of our tournaments. The new down lane seating, which some of the proprietors have done, enabled us to get more people in on Saturday. The television ratings held up quite well, despite competition against the Olympics. I think the course that Eddie Elias and Joe Antonora had charted for the PBA came through in good stead this winter.
And in the future, what's the future you see for the PBA and for maybe bowling in general?
Well, we do know that there's a lot of interest in the Pro Bowlers Tour. We have a lot of people who would like to sponsor tournaments. We also have had some very good success with some new marketing programs, and we do have some of our sponsors that are in the process of or have already made long-term commitments. So I think the PBA has a very bright future, and it's our job to help make it so.
Okay. Is that going to be the pattern of the future, long-term commitments from the sponsors?
It's got to be helpful both from the sponsor's viewpoint as well as the PBA to be able to plan for a 2- or 3-year commitment year in, year out with our tour. And I think it'll be very helpful to all of us.
Okay. Sounds like we're going to be on ESPN for a while. We're going to see if David Traber can keep throwing all those strikes as Mike Shady tries to derail him. We'll be right back after this.
I scream, you scream. We all scream for ice cream. We all scream for ice cream. Thank you. Hershey's chocolate syrup. If you have fine or thinning hair, a heavy hairspray can plaster it down so it looks like you have even less. But Consor's special light spray doesn't weigh hair down, so your hair looks fuller as it holds all day. Consor, the fine mist for fine hair. Morning breath.
As soon as I have my coffee, it's all gone.
Whether you admit it or not, it's a problem.
Okay, I have morning breath, but it doesn't bother anyone.
Don't be so sure.
Mine's not so bad.
Morning breath's not as bad as you think. It's worse. So get Scope. Its 2 powerful ingredients kill 90% of the bacteria that cause morning breath.
Was my morning breath really that bad?
There's no denying morning breath, so save your breath with Scope.
Every now and then, we all need an outlet for change. Like going from the dark into the light. When this happens to you, switch to the change of pace with no aftertaste. New Diet 7-Up with NutraSweet, the 1-calorie Un-Cola. Put some Un in your diet.
Like new blue jeans and old memories, some things were made to fade, but not Dutch boy, not the kid, not on your life, no way, oh baby, gonna stick with you right and clear, year after year. Some things were made to fade away, but not Dutch boy. Ooh, you gotta look that last. We got some girls that we got.
Don't let the word senior fool you. These guys can still hit the ball. The Bell Atlantic Classic today at 5:30 Eastern, live on ESPN.
And what a big week for Willie Charno, who is a local amateur bowler who stood last night in, what, 4th place, Mike?
4th place going in
a game to go and ended up 9th. Did not bowl the game that he wanted to in the championship round, but what a thrill. fans here were behind him last night. As we look at the rest of the top 24, Derek Williams missed by just 14, and Dave D. and Tremont bowled a beautiful game as well.
Eric Forkel, the leading money winner this year, and of course, Willie Sharnoff.
And number 10, Steve Hoskins, Mike Albee, the Hall of Famer in 11th place.
And Bob Besby having a great year this year, and our statistician, Pete Weber.
Justin Romick was 14th, and John Colossi out of New York was 15th.
And Rich Abood, former NRPC winner, Jason Couch, a rookie left-hander on the tour.
18th and 19th, Danny Weissman, and also steady Tony Westlake.
And John Forst, who's dedicated this summer to his father who has cancer, and Dave Houston, nearing that $1 million.
Needs just 5,000 more. Kelly Kaufman was 22nd. Del Ballard Jr., the defending champion, was 23rd.
And holding them up, Rick Hamlin and our alternate Dave Smalley from Louisville.
3 players are left. These two will vie for a shot at our top seed, Parker Bohn III, and Dave Traber has done nothing but strike here on this championship round pair of lanes 33 and 34. Whistles his first shot a little bit high in the pocket, leaves a solid 10.
You know, he kind of shook his head. It looks like to me he got the ball into the oil just a hair, and it skidded a little bit further. Didn't have the good roll on it at the end. Leaves the hard 10, and that's exactly what he expected by the way the ball went down the lane.
As I mentioned, he had not won a match in the championship round until earlier today.
He was only averaging 193. He's improving that.
It's like anything else, though. When you get a taste of winning, all of a sudden it's like it's all mental. And you and I have talked about this a lot.
And it seems easy then.
Well, sure. Okay, I beat Devers. Let's see now. Who is next? Okay, I'll take on Turney. I'll beat him. Then I got Shady and then Parker Bohn. No problem.
Right. Exactly. That's how he's thinking right now. Yeah. Believe me.
Mike Shady really kicked off an outstanding spring and summer run last year as he finished second in this tournament. Whoa. Oh, my. Opening shot, throw it in the channel, and that one fell right off his hand.
It just, and if you had to do anything that was going to unnerve you to begin with, as this ball falls right off his hand, boom, right there. It's just gone. No finger lift at all, nothing. See where the follow-through goes? You know, almost in front of his face. He's got an open shoulder style to begin with, and he just lost it right there. It's gone. Barely gets over the foul line and didn't stay on the lane 10 feet.
Have you ever done that?
No, never did that. I mean, I've thrown it in the channel before, but,
yeah.
but not
first frame, first shot, championship round.
No, but I fouled and stuff like I did all kinds of things. See, can he come back with a spare?
No.
Well, the only way you can look at it is you would have had 8 out and he wound up with 6.
Well, you know for sure that you're going to squeeze that second shot, so the second one's got to go left. Wow.
You got enormous courage, right? Yeah.
An unsettling start for a player that really is a solid professional.
And again, another look at it. As he hits that slide, loses the ball right here, tries to square up that shoulder. He might have nicked his foot right there and knocked it right into the gutter.
And if you're Mark Traber right now, you're thinking, this just could be my day. Back with a strike, but he has spotted Traber in open frame in frame number 1.
You know, it's interesting. It looked like it definitely hit the side of his shoe coming through there, and I've hit my ankle before years ago. You know, I think every bowler has hit his ankle or her ankle at one time or another. But hit your shoe like that, it kind of straightens out that slide, the ensuing frames. You don't want to get it near.
A slap out of the 4-pin, and Traber continues to be able to trip out the 4, and that's always a huge advantage.
Well, what it does is it sets him up for this left lane that he's just been drilling. The only thing he's left on this left lane is 10-pin here and there and a 4-pin here and there. I can't remember when he's missed the pocket.
What about this theory? Is it easier to trip out the 4-pin when you don't cross as many boards?
Well, Billy Hardwick was the best at it of ever, and he didn't cross many boards, so...
Yeah, he used to hook at 2 or 3 boards, didn't he?
Not much more.
Yeah.
When you hit him there, you don't have to trip it out, Dan.
It just disappears. Traber, all business, marching to perhaps his first ever PBA title.
That's a good way to describe him. All business. He not a much smile out of him.
Let's see if Shady can shake off that shaky start. And it doesn't quite get there in time. He was looking for a double.
He was trying, you know. A quality shot at that time. That's the way he was looking to open the game, you know, with something to get him going like that.
Former All-American from the University of Nebraska.
Nice looking young man, but you can see the shoulders are slumped a little bit. The body English, he's just down. He's been on a weightlifting program back in the University of Nebraska, I think, and he's trying to strengthen his upper body and his legs and get himself ready, you know, to compete for a long time out here.
Very realistic, and again, another business-like approach from Shady, who, when he first started, said that he would play full-time for 3 years, sit back then with his business degree and analyze whether or not this was economically feasible, and if it wasn't, he would go on and get his master's degree, and if not, he'd continue to bowl.
Well, you can sometimes say that I'm going to take that detached point of view, but this game has a way of getting that hook in your mouth and reeling you in a little bit, and being that removed or detached is not always easy to do.
Once that competition gets in your blood and you go out and play the best players in the world on a weekly basis, that's an unusual lifestyle.
And you get used, and you get close to winning, but you haven't achieved it yet. But you know that if you'd have just carried this strike or gotten that break, you would have won that tournament.
Right. Traber back to work, leading by 24 and on a double.
See that just whole pocket? You talk about Billy Hardwick. Hardwick used to throw a lot of shots just like that.
And don't forget, all the scores, all the highlights from the Bulls-Cavs Game 3, Athletics Red Sox, and more on the Indianapolis 500, which runs this weekend. Don't forget Sports Center tonight at 7 o'clock.
Shady looking on. Nothing he can do except watch.
Again, now watch this one. The thumb goes down, and there's a little break in the elbow, but he hung up again in that shot.
Did you see his hand? He indicated that it's the exact same thing that you said. Let's watch. The thumb goes down. He's behind it here. And not out of it clean and left. You know, he's trying to hit a little right of that second arrow, and that's the first errant shot to give Shady hope. Looking at that target, it's behind the ball here. Starts turning down about now. Too soon. He's over the top of the ball here, and the thumb and the fingers basically at the same time. Left the target, trouble all the way.
Always going to be left when that thumb goes down early. Shady needs to take advantage.
A little rollout shot there, too.
Got to believe that's the biggest shot of the week for him.
Well, the next one, he put himself right back in the match. I think he can take the lead by a pin with a strike here.
And after starting with a gutter ball, that's got to be a pretty good feeling. Stay out here long enough, you'll see it all, right?
That's true. You probably do it all, but you're good enough.
Yeah. Take the lead, and he does. You see that rollout?
Serious rollout there, I'll tell you what.
All right, now when you say rollout, well, we'll develop that when we come back. In other words, the ball doesn't keep hooking through the pocket. It sets up, stops, and makes them disappear as Shady has come a long way back to lead. Tight match here in the semifinal. Traber down by 1. He hasn't been behind much this afternoon.
Well, it's still basically an even match. He just needs to regroup. Just like that. Big shot coming up, though, on this left lane, because that 4-6 definitely put a little doubt in his mind, you know, and he's saying to himself, well, is it the lane? Was it me? I think it was me. I'll stay in the same place. The old rule is you don't adjust for a bad shot. Stay in the same place, make a better shot, see what happens.
No, his shot's not rolling out.
No, his shot's not rolling out. See, the ball wants to spin left as it's going down the lanes. Then it precesses or turns on its axis to the right a little bit and goes into a heavy roll. When it rolls out, it's used up all of its energy, and he gets that 4-pin again.
Woo! Clipping should be the call on lane 33. But both these players playing different angles, using different rolls to try and get the job done.
Right. See, Traber's ball skids much further down the lane as we watch the 2-pin go to the sideboard, come back and get both the 4 and the 7, and the neck of that 2-pin got the 4.
Now this match is neck and neck. Shady likes it, and rightfully so. A super shot on lane 34.
1 pin the difference. 3 frames to go. If both bowlers took it out the sheet, it'd be 256 to 255. So we'll see what happens.
Marilyn and Ted Hoffman. Of course, Ted Hoffman, the PBA's Western Regional Director and PBA Hall of Famer. And, he and Marilyn have done an outstanding job for many, many, many years hosting PBA events.
And it's May, and they're in their Christmas colors.
Yeah. What a great job they do here at Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl. Oh, Shady loosens up, decides to dice up the rack a little bit.
That's the first real pressure now that he's put on Traber. As Traber, as Shady just comes in light and destroys the 5 into the 7. The eyes. He's really said to Traber, you got to strike now.
More speed. Oh, a tomahawk of the 9-pin. Oh, he almost got the worst break of the week.
This is like two guys just whacking one another, and sooner or later somebody's going to crumble. As the head pin comes off the sideboard and gets the 9, he says, strike that. If Traber, the biggest shot of the week for him right now is right now. 9th frame, he's got to have this one. Perfect. Did you see the nice room and stroke? That was off his hand clean.
Stayed behind that shot much better than he did previously.
Well, he kind of comes over the top on all shots. It was just clean and smooth and not forced at all. Right of that second arrow, no early hook here and no chance for anything to stand.
Flush City for Traber. Now let's see if Shady can answer the challenge here in the 9th. Inside his target.
Boy, to that hole pocket. Woo! No roll out there. You see the difference? That ball hit the oil, went down and made a small move at the back end. When it goes wide, it's rolling out right at the 1-3 pocket. The only way he's going to get trouble is if he throws it too slow. Boy, he didn't miss his foot by much that time either. Did you see that, Dan?
I also want to know if he tugged that or if he changed angles a little bit.
He tugged it.
I believe
I
so.
will guarantee you he tugged it.
Yep. Like to tug 3 more just like that one, too. He leads by 1.
Now 11. If he strikes it out, he can't lose. We could have a tie.
All right. Sounds good to me. That's what Traber's hoping for right now.
Traber's just hoping he doesn't strike somewhere.
Right.
Anyway, doesn't matter. Anyway.
A strike here in 9 would force a possible tie. 2 strikes. And Shady is right where he was a year ago at this time in the title match.
And they come back with a chance to shoot 250 after opening up with a gutter ball. It shows a little character.
Good roll. And the break is not there. So Shady succumbs a little to the pressure. Now it's up to Traber to get the job done.
But Traber's going to have 2, Dan.
Cut that one off a little short, wouldn't you say?
It was a pretty quality shot under that kind of pressure. I mean, just maybe a hair, a little more extension, a little more force through the ball, and then he would have been flush, but it was in the 1-3.
Can't say enough about that comeback performance, though. After a disastrous opening frame, Shady puts together a beautiful semifinal game, and now he just has to sit and watch.
And if I were a betting man, I would definitely bet that this guy will hit the pocket. No time.
Oh, hits the pocket, and after tripping the 4 for 3 games, this time it's silent. And for Dave Traber, it's going to be a third-place finish, and Mike Shady will advance into the title match
for the second consecutive year.
Terrific performance today by Dave Traber, but he comes up 1 shot shy. When we return, it's Parker Bohn III, and that young man right there, Mike Shady, looking to win his first ever PBA title.
The only problem with ice chess is the ice. Yes, it's the ice. Not to mention the icy mess. That's why we're introducing Coolmate, the electric igloo. Just plug it in. It keeps food and drinks cool and dry, and it never needs ice. Coolmate, the electric igloo.
If you're into working out, Bud Light invites you to get ready for the ultimate workout. The Bud Light Triathlon Series.
You can taste it, feel it, know you got it right. 'Cause everything else is just a light.
Just try it.
Another beautiful morning.
There's no one like you.
Another delicious Burger King breakfast. Maybe I'll have a tasty breakfast buddy at Burger King for just 59 cents. And I get coffee and hash browns for just $1 more.
What do you say? What do you say?
I can't wait until tomorrow morning.
It's a delicious morning, and I'm here with Dave Traber.
Right away at Burger King now.
Wilt Chamberlain, the greatest basketball player in history, is testing the new Easy Spirit dress shoe for men. The one with the hidden sneaker inside.
Looks like a dress shoe, feels like a sneaker.
Wilt is doing his famous dipper dunk, only now he's doing it in Easy Spirit dress shoes.
There really is a sneaker in these shoes.
Easy Spirit is bringing the fans to their feet.
And welcome back to Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl. Championship frame is brought to you by Midas for mufflers, brakes, and shocks. Nobody beats Midas. Nobody. And let's look at match number 1. It was Traber in the 7th frame.
It started with 6 in a row, and this is the one where he stopped striking here, but he was so far out in front that it was almost an insurmountable lead for Scott Devers, who had already missed a spare. He could have struck on this one. He carried that light hit several times before. He's looking at it, but he went on to win handily.
Staring it down. 255 to 188 was Traber's first victory. Then we were on to game number 2, and this time it was Mark Turney who got a bad break in the 9th frame.
Well, he's distracted right about now. Something on his right distracted him. He got the ball farther left than he wanted to. Was really fortunate to get it in the 1-3 pocket. Comes back looking at the cameraman as who it was on his right. You know, he had an opportunity. He could have maybe called for interference. He didn't even try it. Lost the match by 6 pins.
227, 221. And then this last game in the 10th frame, this was for all the wheat.
Well, he needed this one plus one more. Same shot that he had made the whole time, maybe a pinch softer, and it crept just a freckle high, leaving the 4-pin that he had tripped out so many times before. But Mike Shady is going to go on as he wins 245 to 234. Good match.
All right, it's the first time I've ever seen anybody start with a gutter ball and win a match. 245 to 234. Shady will now face the tournament's top seed, a player who averaged better than 231 this week, Parker Bohn III.
Think about who you'll be driving around over the next, say, 7 days. That's how long your dealer said it would take before he could fix your brakes. At Midas, we think that's exactly 7 days too long. Because our experts can fix them right the very same day you bring in your car. And that's something to think about today. Midas, because your brakes can't wait.
Taken at face value, your diet routine seems to have gotten brown. Why not come out of the shadow and into the light of Diet 7-Up, the Un-Cola, the Un that's always smooth, never harsh or irritating, without a hint of aftertaste. New Diet 7-Up with NutraSweet, the 1-calorie Un-Cola. Put some Un in your diet.
Wow. There are 100 reasons why college football fans will enjoy these two ESPN home videos. But for the sake of time, here's 5 of them.
Parker Bohn III and Mike Shady, the only 2 players left vying for the title here at Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl, and the top seed will start the match.
It's 5-1 from this position.
That's really a rarity in today's contemporary game. Parker comes out, slaps the 6 around, and also made the 7 disappear, so the top seed starts with an X.
You know, and the only time he lost, he shot 247 and got beat. He doesn't seem to be intimidated by that position.
He loves the bowl from the top seeds.
Loves it.
Mike Shady, who really overcame some adversity in game number 1 to a gutter ball, had a 6 count, and went on to defeat Dave Traber. And he doesn't get the fortunate carry and leaves a split here in the opening frame.
Right out, he says, "Why do I have to start this way every time?"
Hard not to be disappointed, but you can see it's written all over his face.
Well, in a situation like this, the first frame, at the 410, you got to go for it, then. I mean, you just try and clip that 4-pin on the left and slide it across. It can be done. It's probably about an 8 or 9 to 1 shot, but it can be done.
A little straighter. And you aren't going to make it hitting right in the 4th.
No, not too often.
Maybe Joe Berardi in the days we used to throw at 35 miles an hour, but
that's not the way he wanted to start the match, but he didn't want to start with a gutter ball last game and overcame that.
Maybe he just needs an open frame to kickstart.
Well, when you're in the midst of a heated match, the adrenaline's going, the speed picks up a little bit. In between, you settle back down, and the speed reduces just a hair.
Gave him plenty of room, and ends up with a strike. Yeah, I think the speed was a little bit better on the second shot than it was on the first.
And if he starts striking, it will increase. And he really can't throw it too hard because his ball's rolling out anyway. It's going to wind up in the pocket.
Parker Bohn with 5 professional titles. Average 236 on this pair of lanes. He gives it plenty of room. And that was a very classy shot there. A confident shot from the top seat.
And interesting, this is the lane that gave Scott Devers trouble, and Parker picked to finish on it. Classic style here. Pushes and steps right at the same time. Head is steady. Into the pendulum swing. Back is slightly forward, but somewhat upright. High swing over his head. Watch the deep, deep knee bend and long, long slide. Boy, just a perfect form in balance all the way through. See that left foot come way over to the right there.
Plenty of roll here, and actually too much. 6-8 is the answer on lane 33.
And just as David Traber gave an opening to, as Mary Bohn looks on, gave an opening to Mike Shady, Parker Bohn does here. This was the undoing of Mark Turney. He had the 4-9. See, it hit a little bit tight. Cuts right through. Boy, that ball didn't even get close to the 8-pin.
Little wiggle of the 6, but that didn't really get the job done. Parker with a little more speed. Oh, classy shot by Parker Bohn, who's fired up after making the 6.
All right, does that fire him up, you know? See what that does to Shady now. Hard and straight, clips it on the right. Perfect. His reaction. You read lips?
Oh, yes. Hoping he's come so close to winning over the last year and a half and just hasn't been able to get the job done. Shady bounces back with a solid shot on lane 34.
And just nice speed, you know. As long as he keeps that speed up, he's in the pocket.
Shady trailing by 9, but he's got the double up on the board now.
And the strike takes the lead. See, the bowler always knows that, too, Dan. I mean, even he can't see the score or anything else. Most of the time, they got a computer going on there. They're the best mathematicians in the world.
Parker disposing of a piece of tape, so that would mean that the thumb might be swelling up a little bit. Shady for 3. Oh, the messenger. Relax. It's only the 4th frame.
I get excited.
I know you do, especially when you see that head pin flying around.
I never saw that. Watch this head pin. Like a bullet goes to the sideboard, comes back off that kick back there. The 10 pin never had a chance.
Looked like Bobo Brazil off the ropes, didn't it? Oh, my. A little extra room with that shot, and he's shaking his head. Man, 4-pin just whistled around the 7.
Well, at 45 feet, it was none. I mean, it was
45
hanging
feet, it's on the 1 board.
It was hanging on the edge at 45 feet.
Well, you take a look at the rest of that record in the championship round. If you subtract 5 and 1 from the top seed position,
he's had trouble,
to say the least.
Well, he hasn't won since the fall of 1990 when he won the Milwaukee ABC tournament up in Milwaukee.
All he has to do is think back a year ago in the semifinal game. He bowled his lowest game ever, career-wise, in the championship round against Mike Shady, the final 226 to 143.
On this pair of plates.
Shady with the hammer, he has the string, and meanwhile Parker needs to get back on track.
He did. Classy bowler Parker is. He's 28. Shady's 26. You know what the sad part of that is, Ted? It's that together they're only 3 years older than I am. So.
And I'd take them over you, I think, probably at this point.
Well, probably at this point.
You know, I'd like to stick with
bet.
you, but I think I'm going to bail out a little.
Oh, he just starts throwing it better and better and better.
Mike Shady, 3 years of professional. He said he was on a 3-year program.
Well, you know, the difference here, though, is that the one bowler down there knows that he can win, and the other bowler just thinks that he can win. So Shady hasn't done it yet. He can always have 12 pins working on 4 in a row.
Yeah, you've seen a lot happen through the years after the midway point in a title match.
He's carrying everything, though, Dan. He's not leaving anything.
An explosion on the left-hand lane off the hand of Mike Shady.
As it comes in light, he gives it so much room. Sometimes you'll leave a 10 pin on this hit. Not a chance. But he's put Parker in a must-strike situation here.
Oh, no break, no carry. 7-pin stands, and Parker kind of head down, heads back to shoot the spare.
And his messenger came off the sideboard. The head pin came off, and in front of the 7-pin missed it where Shady got his. Watch the head pin, then. It goes to the right. It comes off. It kind of turns in midair. If it hadn't turned, it would have got the 7-pin.
That shot was industrial strength. That head pin ricocheting off the wall, but not getting the job done. Coming up next from the Chester Valley Golf Club, live coverage of the Bell Atlantic Classic. course, they'll finish up the 54-hole event tomorrow on ESPN, beginning at 5:30 Eastern Time.
That was a big shot for Parker. Down 22 pins. And Shady just looks like he could strike forever.
Parker has yet to miss the pocket. You have to have the carry. And he does miss the pocket for the first time, and that's a major league opening for Mike Shady.
Wow, and that's what he did when he bowled that 140 game against Shady on this pair of lanes last year. 397 or 379. Watch the release and see if we see anything. Boy, even his bad shots look good. It's just, I couldn't see anything that he did wrong. It just didn't finish like it had before. He's going to throw hard at the 2 pins and hope for the best. 8 out. Mr. Shady is staring right now with a couple of strikes here at his very first title.
A trip to the Firestone Tournament of Champions. Stepping into the PBA winner's circle. This is every player's dream at the professional level, to win a national tournament.
He's putting the stamp of approval on it, that's for sure.
He's got the whole lane on 34.
You know, we have a scoreboard, Dan, as we see his reaction to this shot. See that follow through right? Whistle past his ear. Yeah. And in each block, your scores are put up. The names are put up, the non-champions in red, champions in black. And, you know, it's a small thing, but his name is going to change from red to black after this week.
6 in a row, and he's taken a 47-pin lead. He has this title firmly in grasp. And the hands are raised. You're right, Michael. He knows that his time has come out here on the national tour.
This crowd knows it, too, as they are sharing in his excitement.
Parker Bohn knows it as well. What a disappointing finish to a brilliant bowling week when you average better than 230 and lead a tournament by almost 300 pins and you lose. Well, the top seed on the PBA Tour is now going to have lost 14 times and 17 tries. Just finished up doing the ladies last Thursday night, and I'm going to say off the top of my head the top seeds are 2 and 12 out there.
Says something about something, doesn't it?
Says you better qualify second or lower.
And yet, if you ask anybody out here, they'd all rather qualify first.
It's a question of economics. Parker Bohn, back-to-back outstanding performances here at Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl, and it will continue. No left-hander to win at Earl Anthony's Bowling Center. Earl was as puzzled as we were when we asked him that.
Maybe he needs to come out of retirement.
I'm going to say the great one is not up for that. I mentioned the ladies tour just momentarily, and the Brunswick Open finishes off their 1992 spring tour. Comes up live on Thursday night beginning at 7:30 from Hoffman Lanes in Hoffman Estates, Illinois. And our next telecast for the PBA Tour will come, and it'll involve the seniors at the Showboat Senior Invitational at Las Vegas, Nevada at the Showboat Bowling Center, and airtime there is June 25th at 7:30. Well, oohs and ahs, but from Mike Shady. Well, you remember what it felt like when you won your first title. How long did it take you to win, Mike?
Well, I won my first year out of the 10th tournament, yeah, but it was a tremendous thrill. You never forget it. It's like your first kiss or whatever, or your first hit in a baseball game, or your first home run or something. You never forget it.
It's been hard-earned, too, for Shady. He's had a couple of opportunities. Was defeated by John Mazza. Lost here to Del Ballard last year. He's been knocking on the door.
And he seems well in line with his 3-year program, you know, that win by a certain time, and he's done it. Now he needs to step up those goals a little bit for the next 3 years.
I think the thing that's a real positive, too, is the approach in terms of getting in better shape physically. and doing the things that you have to do to compete on a weekly basis out here, trying to improve your game, not only from the mental side, but from the physical side?
Well, he's been to see a sports psychologist. He's working on the mental side, as you said, the physical side, everything.
It's what you have to do to compete out here anymore, though. There's too much talent. Ringing 10, but it won't make any difference. It looks like a sigh of relief than it does jubilation on his part.
Well, the jubilation, I think, came 2 frames ago, you know, when he really realized that, you know, it was going to happen.
Mike Shady will have to get directions now to Fairlawn, Ohio. He'll be heading to the Firestone Tournament of Champions in April. And that in itself, a special thrill for any young professional.
Comes up and shoots back-to-back 240 games with opens in the first frame both times.
Mike Shady wins his first ever PBA title. And we'll head back to Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl in Dublin, California in just one moment.
That must be the pizza.
What happens when you add 25% more meat toppings to a Pizza Hut Meat Lovers pizza?
Excuse me.
You've taken a rather large piece, Violet.
You may not want to share.
I got this first.
Oh.
Hey, wait a
This is my house.
So why fight? Buy 1 medium Meat Lovers pizza for $8.99 and get any other medium for $4 more.
You can run, but you can't hide. I don't care if it's your house.
Old MacDonald had a mule. He lived in Ohio. And on his mule he hauled supplies to where he had to go. Well, he hauled things here and he hauled things there. Here he hauled, there he hauled, everywhere he hauled. Old MacDonald had a mule. It didn't cost much show.
The hard-working Mule 500 from Kawasaki carries everything but a big price tag. Test drive one now at your participating Kawasaki dealer.
Old MacDonald had a mule. And boy, did that thing go.
Red Devil enamel. You can always count on its durable finish. Harder than ordinary paints, its beauty lasts and lasts. Red Devil enamel for the finish of a lifetime.
If you have fine or thinning hair, a heavy hairspray can plaster it down so it looks like you have even less. But Consor's Special Light Spray doesn't weigh hair down, so your hair looks fuller as it holds all day. Consort, the fine mist for fine hair.
Good times with friends, hey, they're special. Sometimes you wish they would never end. Hey, your show is just as special. Friends know when to say when.
The family of Budweiser beers is proud of all the friendships they've helped make. So when they remind you to know when to say when, it's all in the name of friendship.
Friends know when to say when.
The championship round finals of the $125,000 Earl Anthony PBA Open are being brought to you by Pizza Hut, home of the new Meat Lovers Pizza with 25% more meat toppings. And by Anheuser-Busch, who proudly brings you Family Talk. Let's stop underage drinking before it starts. 247 to 178. A solid victory for Mike Shady, who steps into the PBA winner's circle, and Earl Anthony did that 41 times in his career. Michael, he's got a beautiful trophy to present to you.
Mike, you're on your way. Great bowling. Congratulations on your first title. We're proud to have you as a champion.
Thanks, sir. First of all, I want to thank Earl Anthony and Ted Hoffman for hosting a wonderful tournament. The crowd out there and their entire staff have been supportive all week, and it's been a wonderful week. And I want to thank my coach back in Nebraska who got me here, my sponsor for giving me a chance to come out, and most of all, I want to dedicate this to my family, my mother and father, Kim and Kevin, Mark, Michelle, and Missy. Thank you for sticking by me and supporting me for the last 3 years. It's a wonderful feeling. Dublin, yes.
All right. I think he's been waiting 3 years for that acceptance speech, and Ted Hoffman, PBA Hall of Famer, has a wonderful check to present as well.
Yes, I do, Mike. $18,000, first place check. I know last year you were runner-up, and we predicted you'd win. I'm real happy it's here. You're a great champion, and so's Earl, and we named the tournament after another great champion. Mike, we're going to see you next year, so have a good season.
I'll be back. Once again, thank you for coming out and supporting us all week. It's a wonderful feeling. Thanks again.
I have to ask one quick question. What is going through your mind when you come out on the opening shot and bounce it off your ankle and throw it in the channel?
Well, I come out, and I was a little tight, and I told myself, stay aggressive this year. Last year, you got the lead early. You got a little relaxed. I come out aggressive through the gutter. I said, hey, Mike, you know, it can't get any worse from here, so it's time to get going.
And it didn't. It only got better. So long, everyone. Our next PBA telecast comes your way on Thursday evening, June 25th, live from the Showboat Bowling Center in Las Vegas, Nevada, where the championship round finals of the Showboat Senior Invitational will begin at